Hey, what's going on, everybody? I just uploaded a video, but I'm gonna try to do this video like just summarize my thoughts here. So it's gonna be a shorter video. Basically looking at theta here on the 4-hour chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have an A, and what the heck is this? Right. So we're continuing to back test the breakout level. So we broke out of this level here, and now we're basically just back testing and consolidating. So it'll be interesting to see which way it goes. But if I had to guess, it's probably needs a little bit more downside. It looks like an A, B, and then maybe we need C, something like that. So basically you have a 1, 2, and then hopefully we can get that third wave out of there. But it's going to really have to depend on Bitcoin here, because when we look at the price of Bitcoin, we are officially in that zone, and we are back testing the bull market support band. So you can see we've been sliding down, come back up, sliding down, come back up, sliding down, come back up, sliding down. So it looks like there's really no definitive move. What we do, let's see, do we have bullish divergence? No, we slightly do, but not too much anymore. So either these is a nest of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or it could be some kind of diagonal pattern where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And this should start to form a base in here. So let's see if we can hold this area in here and actually form a bottom, because it honestly doesn't look finished. It comes up and it rolls over, it comes up and then it rolls over. So there's no evidence that says, we're done, unless we had some big capitulation to the downside, or some sideways movement that creates some kind of pattern. But essentially, we're looking at this as reaccumulation, right? So we have a rise, we have a crash, we have a retrace. Now we're going into reaccumulation. This is the final stage in here, right? That doesn't mean it's going to succeed, right? We succeeded the crash. It didn't go to zero. We succeeded the retracement. It did its job. And now it's coming down to reaccumulation. So if this level holds, we're going to want to see some kind of pattern emerge in here, right? Maybe it's a Wyckoff, maybe it's the ending of the diagonal, or some kind of inverse head and shoulders, or ascending triangle, or something that says, this is building a proper base, most likely some kind of Wyckoff pattern, and then we can break out, right? That's the idea. Now, if that reaccumulation zone doesn't hold, right, and let's say we get down here and we reaccumulate and then we come down, then we're going to look, of course, at our final idea, which was the ABC, right, which basically gets us down to this 50K area, and we backtest this level, right? So here's our resistance. We break out. We have an ABC, back down to support. Maybe build a little base here, and then start to go back to the upside after this three-wave move is finished. So those are basically kind of the ideas there. Either it's going to go sideways into reaccumulation, then another hit to the high, or it's going to come back down. But there is another thing here, and that's the fractal. Right here, there's a fractal that suggests that we could quickly reverse. So that's going to be the interesting thing here. Um, is it, if we don't go sideways here in reaccumulation and instead we get a quick reversal back to the upside that takes out the top, it's going to kind of look like a bear trap, right? Because you can see this fractal here. It doesn't look pretty at all. Now, I'm not saying it's going to fall and do all this and come way down here, but what I am saying is we could have some kind of three-wave shape, right? So let me take this up here. So essentially, the idea would be, here's your support or your resistance line. We come up, right? A, B, and then we have a quick pop to the upside. If that happens, then what? Then basically we weren't in reaccumulation, but instead we were actually finishing the retracement. Because the way I'm looking at it is, just to show you real quick, if we do get that pop to the upside, it actually looks pretty good. But if we get that pop to the upside, then that means the retracement isn't finished. Because the way I'm looking at it is the retracement's finished, right? We had this move down, we had the retracement, and now we're coming back down into reaccumulation, right? To get that upside move. But if we don't get reaccumulation, right, and we have a quick drop, a quick pump to the upside, then that means the retrace wasn't finished. So then we have a rise, crash. This whole thing is the retracement, right? And we break out to the all-time high. And that could be the finish of the ending of the wave, because you technically do have 5 waves. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get 5. And then you kind of stall out up in here. It'll be, if we start to stall out in here, then it's going to look like we're going to come back down. And if we come back down, then that means, we're either at that point going to go into reaccumulation, right? Because then the whole thing becomes rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We go sideways, then we break out. Because now at that point, we would then have confirmed that this is a retracement. Now the retracement took out the top, right? And it could, now you can form, right, some kind of a flat pattern, right? So, I'm just going by, we already had the first idea, right? Which is rise, crash, retrace. Here's our reaccumulation, and then we have another hit to the high. That's basically idea number 1. Idea number 2 is that fractal we just saw, which basically takes out the top. Okay, so if that's the case, then we, from there, let's say that happens, then we come from there, then we come down, right? So if we go into reaccumulation at that point, right, because then it'd be rise, crash, retrace. Now we're going into reaccumulation. So instead of reaccumulation being here, we are still not finished with the retracement. Then we come down into reaccumulation. Then we can get that pump to the upside, and that would actually line up with November, December, usually when crypto pumps pretty nicely. So that would be that idea. Now, there's a little twist to that as well. If we have this move back up just like the fractal, and then we come down pretty hard, but then we quickly, one second, takes out the low here, right? Then that's going to look really bad. That's going to look like, okay, we're not going into reaccumulation. This thing is over with. But in that case, we would wait for a retracement, right? You would wait for the retracement and allow these 3 waves to pop, and then say, you know what, I'm gonna take my profits and leave, right, the market for a little while until it plays itself out. Because I do think, 2024 election is here. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to, right? Again, we have the Bitcoin ETFs, we have the Ethereum ETFs not even trading yet, which opens the door for altcoin ETFs. We still have the regulations that need to be passed. we're still very, very early for this crypto expansion phase to actually take place. So, there's still a lot of time left on the table. And if we get a structure like this, it's, you don't feel bad of, taking profits or maybe, exiting the market a little bit on a trade. Now, for most people, hodling means hodling. They don't really care, right? Because, we can come up and then come back down, and we can easily make another high just like that, right? So you don't really know. You kind of want it to play out first and then have a retracement and then maybe take some off the table before it comes back down. But for me, right, like I've always said, like 90% is hodling and accumulating. Like, you know, some people will have, if we come up here, they'll sell it and they'll just wait to buy back in later. Other people say, no, that's too risky. I'm just going to stay in. And if it does come down, that's okay, because I'll just buy more, right? So, the safe way to play it is to just hodl and to wait, because like I just said, there's so much to look forward to. We haven't even begun the real expansion phase yet, the utility age of crypto, but that might be another year or so down the line. And depending what happens in the structure could dictate the next 6 months to a year of price action, right? So a lot of decisions are going to be made after the market really reveals itself, because again, you're in between point A and point B. You're right in the middle here of this point. So, anything can happen in this area. Now, typically what happens is you basically go into reaccumulation. But again, if this comes back up and pops the high here and takes out this liquidity, and then it quickly comes back down, then what happens to things like, Theta and stuff like that? Well, let's talk about that. So the price of Theta, what I would look for here, right? First of all, this is a good area to dollar cost average. I'm still bullish on the market. It's at a technical level for reaccumulation. That doesn't mean we can't go a little bit lower, but I do think upside is coming. Even if we're going into more of a reaccumulation phase, because just going back to Bitcoin real quick, if we do get something like that, right, where we come up and then we come back down and then come down, people are going to say, oh no, we're going into a bear market, bear market, bear market. But in reality, it's not a bear market. It's something we've talked about. It's actually going into reaccumulation, but on the higher time frames, right? So if that thing does play out, what this would be is a rise, crash, retrace, right? Instead of a bull market, this was just a retracement that grabbed some liquidity. Now it's going to take it down between 30K and 50K in this box in here, and then go sideways in here, reaccumulation, and then take off to the upside. But if we start going down, everyone's going to think, oh, okay, here's a brand new bear market. When in reality, we've been in a bear market this whole entire time. So I think a lot of people are going to get wrong-footed if we do come down. They're going to think, okay, we have another 4-year bear market on our hands, when in reality, we're just coming back down into reaccumulation, then going to the upside. So just be cautious of that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what do you do in that situation? Do you sell everything and wait for reaccumulation? I mean, I'm not going to do that, because we still have, there's a lot of ammunition, right? I mean, we still have the XRP, the Ripple lawsuit that should end soon. Maybe that's the catalyst that brings us up to that final wave, right? Because the whole idea has been what? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we get A, B, and C. And then we get another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we get something like that, then that would probably be the end of the bull market, right? Because then we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we'll see how that plays. Now back over here, we really only had we had 1, 2, 3. We had 3 waves. Now you could say 1, 2, 3, this is 4 and this is 5, right? So we're in that final 5th wave. But I mean, this cycle was really 1, 2 waves. So maybe that's all we get is 1, 2 waves in here. So, but yeah, I think a lot of people, if we do start to turn around, people are going to think it's a bear market. And in reality, it still is a bear market, but it's actually going into a phase, because there's phases of a bear market, right? You have the bull market, and then you have the bear market, then you have the base, then you have the retracement, and then you have the reaccumulation. So we're basically 2/3 of the way there. If that's the case, we still need to come down, right, into reaccumulation, and then go to the moon, right? So if that event takes place, is it worth selling your hodl position? In my opinion, it's not, right? Maybe you want to rebalance it, right? Again, this is not financial advice. You got to come up with your own game plan. But for me, I might rebalance it a little bit. I might take a little bit of profits off the table, but I'm not going to sell everything I have just to think that it's going to come back down in here, when in reality, this could still be some kind of 4th wave. And I'm already jumping the gun because, again, we're at a really good level here. We're back testing the bull market support band. I mean, that's a big deal here. So this is at a technical level for a good buy because we're at the bull market support band. Let's see, again, if we can hold support in here and build a base, then it's going to look more like reaccumulation with another good chance of upside, right? If we come up fast and then come back down, or even go sideways and come back down, then it's going to look like we're going into reaccumulation, right? Now, there is still a chance that we can come down and it's not reaccumulation. That's why I wouldn't sell my hodl position, because what if it's not reaccumulation? What if it's a simple A, B, C, and everyone thinks, okay, the bear market is here, we're going down in a bear market, and then other people say, no, we're going down sideways into reaccumulation, when in reality, all we were doing is an ABC back down to 50K to back test this level, then build a little base, then set up that final 5th wave to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll be the 5th of the 5th of the 5th, right? So that'll be the 5th wave. So you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could still totally happen if we break down to the downside. So there's still a lot of unknowns and a lot of uncertainty, but there's also a lot of things to look forward to. That is why my educated decision is not to sell my hodl position, because I'm an accumulator. I don't care what the market does in the short term, right? That's why 10% of what I do is trading, right? 90% is hodl. But we could still make money if the price is going down, right? You short the market, but a lot of people don't know how to short the market, so they buy the market in a spot position, holding, waiting for future gains. And I think those gains are eventually going to come. Again, we're very early to this crypto sort of revolutionary takeover, especially when it comes down to utility. So for me, crypto is anti-debt instruments. It's important for me. I'm betting against the debt. Become your own central bank, right? Buy gold, buy silver, right? We don't live in a people system. We live in a central bank fiat currency, right? Central banking system that has its puppets all over Congress, right? The anti-crypto army, right? Crypto, in my opinion, is going to be the biggest solution to all the financial problems. So selling that hodl position, right, when we're having this sort of transition away from the old system to the new system is actually kind of dumb, right? Even if we did have to come back into reaccumulation. We don't know what the market makers' plans are, but we do know at some level they can't control what's coming, which is adoption, right? People are gravitating towards crypto, because if they're looking at their current money system, the current money system is broken, right? So we need something new. And I believe it's going to be gold backed. I believe it's probably going to be on the blockchain, and it's going to validate what crypto is all about, and it's going to really usher in the utility age of crypto. So when that takes place, I think that's going to take place during the next administration, right? Again, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to, especially because Gary Gensler at the SEC is going to be gone, which is really, really good, right? You're going to have the Ripple lawsuit be settled. You're going to have an XRP ETF, which is going to have more, maybe a Solana ETF, and then you're going to have a Ripple IPO, right? But then more so, you're going to have the crypto regulations. But then you're going to have Trump too, which is most likely going to be the president. He is definitely pro crypto, right? He wants it to be mined in the United States, not other places out of the world. He wants the innovation here. So, come November, Trump wins the election, we might see a massive alt season because people are pricing in what Trump is going to ultimately do in regards to crypto. Because I'm telling you right now, here's my sort of my prediction. My prediction is Trump's going to win. Right? Maybe they might switch out Biden at the last minute with another candidate, but they're going to probably try to cheat, right? But I think Trump's going to ultimately win, and you might not like Trump. A lot of people hate Trump, and that's fine, right? He's not the most likable person, right? But at the end of the day, I care about one thing: my portfolio, my hard-earned money, right? Crypto is the solution to unlocking generational wealth. We have a special weapon here that people just quite can't understand. And, the banks are really terrified because DeFi stands for decentralized finance. It basically takes the power away from them, which is why they're so scared, right? And then you talk about payments and then other applications as well. It's only a matter of time before all of this starts to take over. And you could say, well, why hasn't it been doing that? And my answer is yes, it has been doing that. There's a lot of great new blockchains out there. I mean, just in the recent years, we had Avalanche and Solana and Polkadot, right? I mean, these are some pretty worthy blockchains. And then you also have Matic, Polygon, right? Ethereum 2.0. Right, Ripple coming out with a stable coin, and then you can't forget about Theta and Theta Fuel. So all of these are only going to get more and more matured, and it's only going to cause more and more adoption. So we are at a very, very difficult time in the market, like I said, at an inflection point. But instead of making any stupid decisions, it's important to just wait and see what happens. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying. If you have expendable cash, go ahead and continue to dollar cost average. But you always want to conserve some cash. Don't waste it all, right? Save, put some cash to the side, and don't touch it. If we get some massive capitulation to the downside, right, then you have ammunition to deploy to take advantage of such event. Right? So, it's definitely going to be an interesting time. And I'm very, very excited. Again, I'm very excited for the crypto future. I think the Federal Reserve System is cracking, and I think a lot of people are understanding how bad the current fiat system is. And it's only a matter of time before crypto solves a lot of these problems. And that's a big reason why I like XRP, is because it solves a lot of the banker problems. People say, oh, it's a banker coin and this and that, but it actually solves a lot of banking problems. So, and those problems are only going to get worse as the cracks emerge, as the Fed has nowhere to go between raising rates and killing the economy to lowering rates and then increasing inflation. So something's got to give. And then people are going to realize, wait a minute, this system is totally screwed up. Groceries and gasoline is so expensive, right? Utilities are going up, electricity bills going up, insurances are going up, and I can't afford it. And, there's just so many problems that is wrong with the money system. And that's why I'm going to put a documentary in the comment section. Maybe some of you have already seen it, but it is the best documentary you will ever watch. I can guarantee it. It will totally red pill. And you think, well, I'm already red pill, I already know a lot. No, but this thing goes into the little nitty ditty, the details of what the central banks are all about. And if you watch that documentary, I guarantee you will not sell your crypto under no circumstances, right? Yes, you want to take profits. I'm not one of those dumb people who say don't sell and never take profit, and then you lost out on a lot of opportunities. No, the reason why we're in crypto is so that we can eventually take profits. The question is, are you happy with those profits, or do you see it going a lot higher than it currently is? In my opinion, not really dealing with Bitcoin. I'm dealing with things like when we look at Theta here, right? And when I look at Theta, to me, this is a baby chart, right? I mean, it's still very brand spanking new here. I mean, we really only had a base. We had this massive bull market. We came back down. We built another bullish base, and now we're breaking out, and now we're back testing. So why would I sell to chase some sort of idea that the market's going to go down? Maybe it does go down, right? Like for Bitcoin here, if we do have that fractal that comes back up, remember that fractal I just shared, what would Bitcoin or what would Theta do at that point, right? So let me put on Bitcoin here, right? So let's say Bitcoin did have that move back to the upside. Then I would imagine, here's your resistance for Theta, I would imagine we would come back up here and get stopped out, right? And then we come back down and then come back down. And then we would make another low, and it would really be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. And then we would hopefully have divergence between this low and this low, and then we would start to form a base down in here and then start to go to the upside. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. If we do get bearish here, something like that. But in that case, would I sell it? No, because I think we're still pretty close. Because hopefully you guys took some profits up here, right? I know I did. And but for trading, but for my hodl position, I'm not going to touch it until we actually break the all-time high in Theta, right? And I think that's eventually going to come. And again, mark my words, if Trump is elected president, we're going to see a massive crypto bull run. Now, he's going to be president for 4 years. It might take some time, but I think it's coming. So during that time, it's all about preparing. So you don't want to be selling, you want to be hodling, and you want to be accumulating. Because a lot of times it's kind of hard if people sell their crypto, then that cash kind of goes into other places, and then when it's time to buy, they don't have the cash to buy, right? So if you sell your crypto, put it in a stash where that stash is dedicated for redeploying that capital back in. Because the last thing you want to do is sell and then wish you didn't, right? But no, this is not the time to sell. This is actually the time to wait and see, and also dollar cost average. But you have to have a time horizon, right? This is not about next week, next month, or even the next 3 months. This is about the next few years planning, right? So yeah, if Bitcoin does come down, I would imagine we come back down in here, right? Which we already did, but maybe we come a little bit lower. So yeah, it's going to look pretty interesting for the future. Now, if this continues to come down 1, 2, 3, right? The other idea is to say that this would be actually 1, 2, 3, and maybe we come down a little bit more, and then we have another 1, 2, 3 like this into a retracement, right? And then we would come down into reaccumulation, right? So we would have a rise, crash, retrace, we would come down into reaccumulation and then start to go to the market or to the upside in the market. So but yeah, that would be the second idea. This is all these ideas are all, based on, what will happen with Bitcoin, right? Because again, when you're in between point A and point B, now theta is at the bottom here, so that's why I'm thinking, retracement is coming. The other idea is to say we have 3, right? Maybe a little bit lower, and then we have another 3, and then we have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So then what that becomes is just a larger ABC, a bigger ABC correction, which is still qualified for a 1, 2, 1, 2, just a giant wave 2, right? So all in all, if we start taking out these lows in here, then it still is certainly possible that we can have some kind of black. This is where I come up with the black swan type of situation, where you have a big capitulation back down to the downside that actually takes out these lows. Now, in that situation, a lot of people would be panicking. They would be selling. They would have wished they would have sold. They would have said, why did I listen to, I should have sold everything. That's the thing, but you just don't know. You just don't know, right? And even if we did, so what, right? If you would have took profit, you could have been protected. But if not, then, you hodl through it and you just deal with it, right? Just be a man and or a woman and deal with the situation. Because if you think crypto is dead, then you shouldn't be in crypto. But if you think crypto has to do some kind of more complex correction that lets us back test down in here, right, before ultimately getting going on the real bull run, then that's kind of the mindset I want to see, right? So, if we go down, look at it as an opportunity. If we go up, look at it as, hey, we're going up. That's the whole goal at the end of the day. So it's really going to come down to what happens, in the next couple months, especially what happens this year. But all in all, nothing's really changed. The only one that, kind of bothers me now is total 3, right? Because, back here in October, right, I was basically saying we need a retracement. Well, we got the retracement. So now, right, do we have to come back down into reaccumulation like this before going back to the upside, right? So that would be rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. So if that's the case, then hey, that's the case. But we built this base for a reason, right? That's why I like the base that it built, because it wasn't a quick V bottom and then down into reaccumulation. That's why I don't think it'll be such a big reaccumulation, because we already had this sideways base in here. So if we do go back into reaccumulation, it probably won't be that big. So if that's the case, I'm laying all these options out, and that's the case. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, what do we do? Well, the best thing to do is do nothing, right? The best thing to do is wait, right? If you don't feel comfortable continuing to buy, then that's it is what it is. But for me, I would actually wait and see how the next couple of weeks play out, especially with Bitcoin here, because what I'm waiting for is, do we hold the bull market support band? And trust me, if you want to sell and get out, then you have plenty of time, because the market's going to reveal itself one way or another. It's going to give you an opportunity. If you really wanted to, maybe only get out 30% and then, wait until it reveals itself. Or, Bitcoin's in here, right? It's going to create some kind of pattern. Either it's going to reverse, and then if it does that, then we know it's most likely somewhat of the fractal playing out. and then see what happens in here if we get some kind of rejection. But we could get a big alt season if we have a retracement. So if this thing comes back down and then we go into a retracement, right, that's going to be probably a good place to sell then, right? If you're going to want to sell, we might have a big alt season before that happens, right? So maybe, yeah. And then, and then November comes around, and then next year comes around, right? And then we have a new president. Then the ball starts to move on regulation, and then before you know it, we're going to be, looking at some pretty optimistic price points, and we still are, right? We just don't really know what's going to happen in here because, again, when you're in between point A and point B, you're literally right in the middle. We have to wait for a pattern to emerge. Does a Wyckoff pattern emerge in here? That's going to look bullish. Does a head and shoulder pattern occur in here? It's going to look bearish, right? Maybe an inverse head and shoulders is going to look bullish. Maybe it's a triangle, which means we have one more wave to the downside. Maybe it's going to be an ascending triangle, which means more upside. So we don't know what the pattern is going to be. That's why I'm not doing anything until I wait and see how that pattern emerges, right? Because for Theta, like if I wanted to exit my Theta, which I'm not going to do, but if I knew a bear market was coming or Bitcoin going down into a much deeper reaccumulation, then I would wait for a retracement. So here's your resistance up here. Usually what happens is if we build a base down in here, then we're more likely to break it. But if we quickly go back up, we're most likely going to get rejected, then come back down, and then make one more low, then build the base, right? So maybe take profits in here. Well, we'll talk about that when that day comes, right? But until now, I have to treat it like a bullish backtest. Maybe that backtest isn't all the way complete yet, right? I mean, we could still have one more wave to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it could be 1, 2. All of this could be 3, right? Maybe we get one more wave to the upside for wave 4, then get wave 5, right? And then come back up and get rejected here, and then come back down. You see what I mean? So there's still a lot of movement that still needs to happen in this altcoin market for me to start saying definitively, what's going to happen on the broader scale. But yeah, but all in all, I want to see this hash out a bottom in here. Maybe we have one more low, whatever the case may be, but eventually I want to see the price come back up to this line right at $1.90. So between $1.90 and $2. So that's going to be a big point for Theta. Do we get rejection at $1.90 or do we break through it, right? So let's wait for the bottom to form. Maybe we have one more low, and then let's wait for the retracement to occur, and then let's see if we get rejected here. And then depending on what Bitcoin is doing, we'll have a much more educated guess on what to do, right? On what to do. So, but yeah, these prices down here, they're definitely, in my opinion, a good buy, right? Not financial advice. I mean, I know what I'm doing. I'm accumulating in here, but that doesn't mean this is going to be the ultimate low, right? We could still have a retracement and then come back down into reaccumulation. So I don't want to make it incredibly confusing. I probably did. So I'll just make it as simple as possible, which is, we came down here, we're back testing. So now I want to see a bounce back up to this level here. But first, we want to get this bottom hashed out in here. So maybe we might need a little bit more grinding out in here to do before we get that bounce back to the upside, back up into here. So that's what I'm waiting for, and that's what I think is going to happen. Now, as far as Bitcoin goes, this is what I think is going to happen. Basically, go sideways in here before hopefully breaking to the upside. Now, if we have a continuation to the downside like this, then we're going to be looking potentially at some fractal like this, right? So either this one or this one here, which basically says, you know what, we're still in the middle of this wave. But then we would know because we would break below the bull market support band, right? Probably more so along this line here where we come down, we have a big bounce, and we make one more low here. We get divergence between the fourth and the fifth of this wave. And then we would see a retracement, right? Bitcoin would come up into this retracement in here. And then we can reevaluate what the altcoins are doing.
Hey, what do you guys think?
But until then, I mean, we could still have a fractal like this where we actually take out the top. So, you know, there's a lot. I wish I could be completely, you know, more helpful here, but I say we're still in a good spot. I did catch some of these fractals on BCB's channel, and I go, you know what, I have to share these fractals. They look really good, but it actually just made it more confusing than it actually helped, because then it opens the doors for more ideas. So, but yeah, I mean, the price is doing exactly what we thought it was doing since back up here, which is basically getting over here. So now that we're over here, now we want to see a base get formed. Now, looking at other charts like Filecoin, ADA, Matic, they have that similar look like I shared with the Algorand fractal. You see here, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3, maybe we get 4, and then 5, one more hit to the low. And that would finish out that wave, right? And then we can start seeing a base forming here and then a retracement, because this whole thing is like a crashing structure. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Maybe we get another wave, but we need some kind of retracement, right? When you have a big move like this, you need some kind of retracement back up here, right? That's why I'm saying, why would you sell now when we're at the bottom here? I would wait, let the market play out, let the market have a retracement first, and then we can decide at a later date. But until now, I mean, these are buying our accumulation prices down in this area. So and then again, real quick with Matic, it's the same kind of thing, right? Where you have this, you know, the shoulder here, or this top and this higher top. You come down 1, 2, 3. You kind of play around here, and then bam, you drop to the downside. Exactly what, you know, Algorand did back in 2020. You can see the same thing, that fractal I shared. So there's Algorand now, and there's Algorand back in the day. So that's why I'm saying, like, these are accumulation prices, you know, not thinking about dumping prices, right? So I come back over here on Matic and ADA and Filecoin. They all have that similar look. So maybe one hit to the low, and then you know, continue working our way back up in a retracement, and then seeing what happens over here, right? Because now we're back over here. Now we can see, okay, can we get out of here, or is it just a retracement? We'll have much more data and much more to go on. But until then, you know, my final thoughts is let's just build a base down here, maybe hit one more hit to the low, but ultimately coming back up. Now, if we have if we have a black swan or some type of capitulation, I mean, we can easily have, you know, this here, right? And we come back up and we get rejected, and then we could come down one more time and have a low right in here, right? Or if it wants to get really nasty, it can have a bigger capitulation in here. But, you know, I can't really see that happening at the moment. Maybe it'll convince me more later on. You know, maybe there's some kind of black swan event or a stock market, or maybe the dollar breaks out. I don't know. Well, you know, that's another thing we have to deal with is the DXY staying below its current swing high. So we'll see how that plays. But even like with Ethereum, same kind of thing with Bitcoin, right? We had a rise, crash, retrace, and now we're sort of going sideways here in reaccumulation. So let's see if we can get that pop to the upside. Let's build a base in here and get that pop to the upside. If not, then it's going to look like an ABC, right? Some kind of ABC in here, right? And then get that pop or that retracement or whatever it's going to be at that point. Here's FET USD. I mean, again, you have a nice three-wave shape. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It looks almost complete there. This came back pretty strong, so we could get one more low or something like this, right? Or we come back up and retrace it and then get one more low and back test this area, then build the base. So again, it's going to come down to Bitcoin. And then here's ADA. ADA looks a lot better because it's a lot higher up. It's not way down here where it's dangling by a thread. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have this move down. Same kind of move right here where we took the low. So we might have one more and then build the base, just like how we saw Algorand do, where we bottom out, come back up, flag out, and then continue to get back up here in the retracement levels. So my main thoughts is I want to see a base get formed in here because we are on support. We've been falling quite a bit, right? So let's see, we were up here and we've already fell, close to 50% or so. So we could be a little bit more. Because if this is a three-way pullback and now this is a five-way move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we could get another three-way pullback with another 5 waves down. You see what I mean? So this could be some kind of wave 4 here on the broader sense, and then you start talking even more bearish, right? Because then what you have would probably be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get 5. And then you actually come all the way down to this base down in here, and you build a base over here. And then that's the end of the bull market. Then you go to the moon up there. So we could be dealing with something like that as well. So we just have to, keep our guard up. But if that's going to happen, then we have a chance to get out of the market, or at least some of the way, right? In this sort of ABC retracement up here. If we don't get that, we're eventually going to get some kind of pullback. If that's the case. Now, how that looks on Theta, in case you were wondering, I would put my line right here about $1.90, and if we come back and get rejected there, then that might be a good place to potentially let a little bit go, and then just let the market play out. Because all in all, I think this whole area is going to be critical to get past, as we make our way back up. So, but anyways, we're still very early to make any quick, decisions in here. But I will say on the small time frame, the price of Theta, right? I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we get an ABC. We get back down in here. 1, 2, somewhere in here, and then we come back to the upside. Make that wave, that third wave, or actually it would be A, B, C, and then if we can get a wave 4 and then another wave 5, then you would have a wave 1, right, to work with. Then you would have a wave 1 to work with. Then you would get another bigger ABC back down, and then that's when we can hopefully break above this, back above this line. But I don't know if if that's going to happen. What I think is more plausible is basically just kind of trending sideways in here. Maybe we could get some kind of Wyckoff base, right, where we come down, we make one more low, we come back up, right, we develop a spring, something like this, and then go like that. That would be very nice to see, because then that would give me confidence that this thing is building a base and we actually have a legitimate shot at breaking above this resistance. Because if it V bottoms, then the price gets exhausted too fast, and then you oftentimes get rejected. So we're just gonna have to wait on Bitcoin and see how that plays out. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. Real quick here on XRP. I mean, it's very hard to read what XRP is doing right now, but all in all, I think it's, you got 1, 2, 3, you got 1, 2, 3, and now it looks like 1, 2, maybe 3, like that. So WXY, so some kind of three-way move. So maybe a retracement up in here. But all in all, let me zoom out. We're building something here. Doesn't look like a good base though. Looks more like a head and shoulders. But yeah, if we can continue to hold in here, we have a good chance. But we'll revisit XRP on another video. But I'd say we got some time to see how Bitcoin wants to play out. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm actually just gonna make this video the original video. I think it went more smooth as opposed to the last video. So yeah, instead of it being a quick recap, I'm actually just replacing the other video. I guess that's just the way it goes sometimes. Alright guys, if you can, hit that like button and hit subscribe, and if you haven't already, drop a comment and let me know what you think. Right? What do you think is going to happen? And if there's any coins you want me to take a look at, you can go ahead and drop them below as well. And I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.